Good afternoon, everybody. It's a beautiful July day here in Florida, nice and hot. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that, what was it, 8 months ago? 9 months ago? 9 months ago, I walked part of the Camino de Santiago in October of 2018. You might also remember a very special cat in our lives named Milo, who we lost about a year ago this time.
Yes, I know. I love you too.
Those two events sort of worked together to lead up to what happened yesterday. Now here's the deal. We lost Milo in July of 2018, about 3 months before I walked the Camino de Santiago. I was so distraught. I needed to deal with my grief, and one of the ways I deal with my grief in any situation is to write about it. So I started a manuscript, which I just finished. This is just a rough draft. It's called The Way of Saint Milo. That is a picture of Milo. I photoshopped him at the top of the steps at Puerto Marin on the Camino de Santiago, looking down the bridge, waiting for me to come across the bridge. I'm getting choked up. The reason it's Puerto Marin is because as I started this book, I thought, how am I going to end this? I know, sure, the cat's going to die at the end of the story, but how am I going to end it? Well, I decided to make the story told from his point of view. And after he dies, he's reincarnated as a human being, and he decides to come and see my wife and I each individually as this human being. So I thought, what better place for him to come and see me than the Camino de Santiago? So I took the map of the Camino, kind of randomly picked a little town up in this area, which is where I knew I would be. I picked Puerto Marin, and as such, I decided I wanted to stay my first night in Puerto Marin. Now, I actually started over here in Sarria. I flew into Madrid, which is down in here somewhere, and took a train up to Sarria, and I only walked this last part of the Camino. Jesus, people, we have a track number. Our train's coming in soon. Can't wait to get on this train and get going. Close. 5. But here's the deal, and here's how that first day went, and I kind of like to just sort of set it up for you so you understand why it's so significant. First of all, my train from Madrid to Sarria was an overnight train. It was not comfortable. I did not get much sleep on the train. Train now, we're coming into Sarria. It's slowing down, so we're going to start from here. Now, logically, what I should have done is rested in Sarria for a day and then started the next day. I arrived in Sarria the morning of October 17th. But I was too wired and too excited to start walking, so even though I had had very little sleep on the train, I started my Camino in Sarria that morning. It's cold enough to see your breath, but we're on our way. Now, prior to the Camino, I had only trained to walk 15 kilometers a day. I figured that would be my max. I didn't want to exhaust myself. However, from Sarria to Puerto Marin, it was 23 kilometers. So when I hit about 15 kilometers, I had a decision to make, and this is what I did. We're about 8-9 kilometers away from Puerto Marin. Now, Puerto Marin is going to be very special to me because this book that I'm finishing up is very personal. I ended it in Puerto Marin on the Camino. And the scene I wrote was having never visited it, but I ended it there, and I thought that's where I want to stay the night, the first night. I do, and I hope I don't get too emotional when I get there. So I'm walking the additional kilometers to get to Puerto Marin that evening. I got hit with a lot of weather, some rain. I got lost. It was a bit treacherous. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to get it to Puerto Marin tonight. I might be sleeping in the rain in the middle of the forest. In the end, I arrived in Puerto Marin the evening of October 17th, and it was pretty amazing. In my book, two old friends meet on this bridge at the end. One of them knows who the other is. The other has no idea that he's talking to an old friend because he's changed his appearance. Actually, in the book, here is where they meet, here on the steps. And I picked this town at random when I wrote about it, looked up pictures online, and now I'm here. First day into the Camino. I want you to think about something. I did a couple things I probably shouldn't have done. I started in Sarria on the 17th with very little rest. I should have stayed an extra day and rested. I went further that day than I should have. I probably should have stopped at Morgade and rested there. I did a couple things I wasn't supposed to do, and because of that, I got to Puerto Marin on that evening, and I met a guy named Joe in an albergue. And I was exhausted, I was beaten down, I was broken, and this guy, he gave me one of his flashlights. He said, "You're going to need a flashlight." He gave me some earplugs for the snoring that happens in albergue. The albergue. He gave me a couple protein bars. He gave me encouragement. He'd been walking for a lot longer. And it kind of saved my life. And that was sort of magical. So I think about it. If it hadn't been for me starting to write this book, randomly picking Puerto Marin, pushing through Sarria when I should have rested, going further than I was supposed to that first day, if I hadn't done all of those things, I would have never met this guy. And it turns out this summer he was in Florida, 3 hours away. So that's what I did yesterday. I drove over to meet him. So I can't even see if we're here, but this is my friend Joe. We met on the Camino, how many months ago? 8 months ago, I believe. Yeah, about 8 months, almost 9 months ago.
Yes.
And we're here in Fort Myers. I told you all about him in the preceding, I told you all about that part out, I'll just cut it out. So what do you have to say, man? Anything? Just in observations? This is Fort Myers, by the way, beautiful.
Aloha, and it's a beautiful day, and I'm so grateful I walked the Camino. It was such a spiritual experience that it makes me thirst for more. Not that I have to do the Camino again right away, but that I thirst for going to spiritual places like Spain with the Camino.
Absolutely. Buen Camino, everybody. Take care.
Buen Camino.
Pretty cool, huh? That's why the morning of my second day on the Camino, I had so much joy in my heart. What are the odds? It's crazy.